After leaving the German cemetery, we moved on up the coast to a famous position called Pointe. It's positioned between Utah Beach and Omaha Beach, where the Germans had 155mm guns stationed. The guns were capable of reaching Utah and Omaha Beach, so it was quite important for the Allied forces to take them out. Now, on D-Day itself, the US Army Rangers scaled 90-foot cliffs to reach the position, but when they reached there, the guns had already been moved, but the Americans didn't know that at that stage. Now, if you look around, you can see a lot of craters in the ground where the American Air Force had bombed the position in April before the Normandy landings. So after that, that's when the Germans moved the guns. But anyway, this is the memorial to the Rangers, and the inscription on the stone says, "To the heroic Ranger Commandos of the 2nd Ranger Battalion of the 116th Infantry, who, under the command of Colonel James E. Rudder of the 1st American Division, attacked and took possession of Pointe." There's a lot more to the story of Pointe and all the other sites of the Normandy landings. I'm kind of only giving a brief insight to some of the places we've been. If you're interested in this kind of thing, there's a guy I follow on YouTube. He's The History Underground, I think is the name of his channel. He's an American guy that goes around all the landing sites and gives a lot more information than I can here. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, look him up. Now, from Pointe we moved on to the American Cemetery. Now, the American Cemetery is kept really beautiful. In contrast to the German cemetery, it just looks so... Not that the German cemetery is in bad condition or anything, but it's just the American cemetery with the white crosses. It's kept beautiful. It overlooks Omaha Beach. There's 9,387 American servicemen buried there, over 172.5 acres. Look, what can you say? It's just, I don't know, to borrow a line from a World War I song, it's just man's blind indifference to his fellow man. But look, the place speaks for itself. If you ever get a chance, just go and see it. So it was on to Omaha Beach after we left the American graveyard. Now, Omaha Beach seems to go on for miles. It's about 5 miles long. But on June the 6th, 1944, the Americans landed 34,000 troops by the end of the day on Omaha Beach, of which 2,400 of them were casualties. So with the American Cemetery and Omaha Beach done, we decided to move on to Bayeux. We had intended to go to the Commonwealth graveyard in Bayeux. Now, we did pass it by and we did see it, but we continued on into Bayeux to get something to eat because it was getting quite late in the day. But while we were there, we were beside the Cathedral, so we went in there for a look around. Now, that's quite an old building. It was first consecrated in July 1077. Very impressive building. So when we came out of there, we decided to head on. We had one more stop in Normandy to make before leaving it. We headed to Pegasus Bridge. Now Pegasus Bridge, it's quite a famous bridge that was taken by the English on D-Day. It was quite important for them to take the bridge intact, so D Company, under the command of Major John Howard, the plan was land 6 Horsa gliders and take the bridge before the Germans could destroy it. It was quite important that they took it intact, and it was strategically important to stop German counter-attacks as well. Now, as I said, there's a lot more history on these places, and you can look it up yourself if you're interested in that kind of thing. But that was our final stop on our Normandy tour. It was after 6 o'clock in the evening when we left Normandy, and we still had 300 kilometers to make up to get to Campion. Now look, I totally enjoyed the 2 days in Normandy, and the way I had it plotted in the sat-nav was to avoid motorways, that we'd enjoy the roads, the back roads on the bikes. But to be honest with you, the one bit of advice I'd give anyone is, if you're pushed for a bit of time, get out onto the motorways and make up the time. And to be honest with you, when we came out of Normandy, the roads were just long straight roads with just wheat fields on either side of them. Ridiculously low speed limits. I think there were about 70 kilometer speed limits, and then there was speed cameras every 10 kilometers or so. So to be honest with you, it just really wasn't worth doing the back roads in France. You know, you're better off, especially if you're running behind time, to get out onto the motorways and make up the time. When we arrived in Campion, our hotel was locked up. It was in darkness. We didn't even think we were in the right place. We thought it looked like it was closed. But seemingly it's not like Ireland, where you go in any hour at night and there's someone on reception. Anyway, we ended up having to ring the owner of the hotel, and he came and opened up and let us in, and we got the bikes parked and everything. But it was just the one bit of a hiccup. You're just way better off to hit the motorways and make up the ground, especially if you're running a bit late.